Thousands of people have seen me sell millions of dollars of silly products online, but I want to share my story because I've been featured in Yahoo Finance. I've been a top 30 entrepreneur as well, but I didn't start there. It was not that long ago that I simply could not afford to buy girls drinks at the bar. I could not afford it. My bank account was hurting, my credit cards were going up. I was using credit cards to pay for rent in certain times when it was getting tough. Now, I'm not here to sell you a program, I'm not here to show fancy cars or a nice house or anything like that, but I do want to share my story because I know that you might be struggling. You might be trying to create an online business, you might be trying to get a side hustle going. I'm gonna keep it as raw as possible. I'm gonna go from the very beginning, where I was sitting and where I ended up to today. But what I wanna do is tell you that it is always one right move to change everything. And that's exactly what I would tell myself when I wasn't able to pay for rent, or I wasn't able to go on that trip, or I couldn't buy those new shoes. I'm one move away from changing everything. Let me go ahead and tell you exactly how I started this. Thank you for sticking with me. What I do want to say is just quickly introduce myself. Who am I? Why am I talking about all this stuff? What is it that I do, okay? So I'm 29 years old. I was originally in corporate when I came out of college. I had a college degree in business and marketing. What I thought was that I would come out of college, I watched, a lot of the movies and TV shows and, crazy boardrooms and, the girls and the cars and the money and the trips and all this sort of thing. And reality set in and that didn't really happen for me, okay? So what I do right now is I got out of corporate. I'm completely out. I work totally for myself. I do everything online. I run several successful businesses. Some of you may have heard of dropshipping. That's exactly what I do. I'm a professional dropshipper is what I call myself. There's going to be lessons involved in this beyond just starting an online business, okay? So I want to just tell you my story and share it with you. I've been featured in Yahoo Finance. I've been a top 30 entrepreneur as well. You can go and read those articles if you want to. But what I want to do was to put a face and a voice and just dive into it a little bit deeper and tell you the full story, because I feel like those pieces didn't get into it enough through the struggles and everything that I had coming up. But here it is. So like I said, when I graduated college and I came out and I got a job in this corporate world, I had illusions that I would make all this money. But the problem was that didn't happen for me, okay? I started off very low, which I think happens with a lot of people, whether or not they even get a job, okay? It's hard to get a job out of college, especially with how the economy is right now. We're going through very tricky times. But when I came out, I envisioned this whole aura of amazingness that was going to happen for me. I was going to be able to work hard, but I was going to have some fun as well. And not that I didn't have any of that, okay? I don't want to sit here and say that it was the worst experience ever, but what I experienced with corporate, now you might be going through corporate, you may not be, you may be trying to figure out this whole life thing out, that's okay. I wanted to just share my experience as kind of a reference point, okay? So I came out, I started working corporate in marketing, and I started out very low, okay? My first salary was $28,500. I know a lot of people that are watching this are saying, hey, I'm not making that much money. I know people that might be making more than that. It wasn't a whole lot of money for me, okay? I felt like corporate was very stuffy. I felt like it was very political. You are just kind of on a tight leash. You got people watching over. You have to make certain things happen. Every single day you have to report and you have to tell people when you can't be there. It was kind of messy, and on top of that, they make you go do this networking. So I'm not against networking, but the way that they network is just so political. It's so title-based. If you're an executive, you probably won't be talking to an entry-level person. It's just a whole big mess. It was something that I never stood for. And if that's you, definitely keep watching. If it's not you, if you like the corporate world, that's okay. I want to share some stuff with you that you can make some extra income and to really map out this life and take advantage of all the opportunities I have to, okay? I was pretty done with corporate. I do want to say that the average American makes 2 to 4% annually as a raise. The magical tool that counters it, that's the biggest scam of all time, is that the inflation rate is roughly the same amount. It's roughly 2 to 4%, okay? So that means that every year you get that raise that you're excited about, but the power of money, the value of money actually decreases the same amount. So you basically break even. What I'm here to tell you is that the corporate trap is real, and that's what I experienced, because every single year I was actually making more than average. I was making more than 2 to 4% every year, but I was still getting stuck. Now I want to include a little short snippet of me while I was working talking about this. I kind of used an analogy towards PyGao, if you're familiar with PyGao and gambling. Let me just play the clip really quick here, okay?
And you're kind of pushing through life, you know, you're kind of just, it's kind of a push, right? So a push is when it's a draw, you know, nobody really makes an edge. I'm thinking about, so the game that I like to tie this to now that just came to my head is PyGao. So if you've ever been to a casino, you've got blackjack, you've got craps, you've got the slot machines, and sometimes you've got a game called PyGao. Now PyGao, I don't know if it's a Chinese game, it doesn't really matter. PyGao is a game, it's a push game. So if I go into the casino, and I don't want, you know, you could lose money really quickly, right? There's high risk, high reward type situations with blackjack and craps and roulette. But if I want to stay there for a while, I want to have a couple of drinks, I don't want to lose my money in 15, 20 minutes or even faster, you play a game like PyGao because it's a push game. It's meant to push. Meaning that you win one, you lose one. Maybe you win a couple, you lose a couple. And you're able to stay there. By design, you're able to stay there longer. You're able to buy drinks. You're able to hang out, right? So that is kind of the majority of people, is that PyGao mentality where they're actually just pushing. But the second that you can step out of that mentality, that PyGao mentality, and move to something else, and you maybe you lose a little bit and you got to walk outside the casino and go re-up and come back in. Until you can do that, you're constantly going to be in the same exact position that you were last year.
So you can kind of tell just by my frustrations in there. I was driving to work. In the middle of that, I was creating these businesses I talk about, but I was still like stuck, driving into work, dealing with all the traffic, getting in there, having to deal with whatever, you know, mood my boss was in, okay, or the people around me were in. It was just a bad environment. I didn't really realize the full effect of that until I left, okay? I was absolutely done with corporate, and, you know, I just didn't want to deal with the political BS and the tassels on the shoes and wear your tie a certain way and, you know, say please and thank you. Be a human, okay? But I just feel like there's so much kiss-assing going on in that world that you can't feel like you're yourself, okay? And I feel like everyone has their own identity, and I think corporate forms you and shapes you a certain way that you might not like. So I was working at corporate, I was making, you know, not enough money, in my opinion, and I knew that I could not pay off my loans, I couldn't pay off these bills, I couldn't, you know, go on the trips I wanted to do, or buy the clothes that I wanted to buy, or the shoes, or whatever it was, I felt like I couldn't do it, okay? And you might be in that position right now. And when I was in that position, I told myself, like I say, it only takes one right move to change everything, okay? So you're gonna hear me say that a lot because I still believe that today. One right move to change everything. So what I did was I went online and I typed in how to make money online, okay? I went to YouTube and did that. I'm sure you might have done it just now to come up and I happen to pop in. I think everyone's had that moment, or they will have that moment at some point, okay? Now, what that moment is I call it the online parachute. Now, the online parachute is that moment when you're fed up, you don't like your job, or you feel like you can't make certain expenses, or maybe you want to buy the Drake ticket to the concert next month, something like that, okay? So everyone's had that moment where they try to make a little bit of extra cash, or maybe do something full time. Now, the first thing I decided to do is because I liked design, so I wanted to learn more about it. I like structuring things and making things better and making things beautiful. You know, that's really what I wanted to do at that time, and I still love doing that. So what I thought was, hey, maybe I could just be a web designer, okay? I don't want to do the coding and stuff. I just want to make the front end, the beautiful layouts and the navigation and colors and everything like that. First, I bought a program to teach me how to design websites specifically. So I knew exactly what the layouts looked like, and you know, it's a whole math thing with spacing and all that sort of stuff. So I bought that program and I started working through it. I decided in that program, they said that if you go to this 99 Designs or some other crowdsourcing website, you can actually make money doing this. You can find, you know, thousands of different proposals online. And if you don't know what crowdsourcing is, basically it puts a bunch of designers over here and it puts a bunch of proposals over here. So the clients submit these proposals, and then you can go and you can make bids for them, and you submit designs, and it's like a competition, and the best design wins. They get the prize money, they walk away happier person, okay? So I was starting to do this. I would work at nights, and I would spend several hours learning to design, getting faster, getting better, reading these proposals, submitting certain things here and there. I just felt like I didn't have enough time to dedicate to it, because you've got people out there that do this for a full-time living. I'll always be appreciative of myself for trying that, because now I know Photoshop, I know a little bit about that space. It's okay, but I did have to give that up. I spent probably about 2 months doing that, and I didn't have any sort of output, okay? So what I did next was I went back to the YouTube, I typed it in again, and I found affiliate marketing. So affiliate marketing, I'm sure everyone knows it, but basically you find an offer, which would be a product or service, you generate some traffic to that product or service, and then you end up taking, a little bit of kickback, a little bit of the cash from there, and then that's how you make your money. You're selling other people's products and that sort of thing. So I started to build out those systems, and the funny thing about YouTube is that it actually put in the algorithm that I wanted to search those things, and so it started kicking back different ideas to me. So while I'm building that out, I'm an avid YouTuber, the consumption standpoint. I love being on YouTube, and started to kick me stuff for drop shipping. So I was like, I don't know what this drop shipping is. I built this online business. It sounded great because it felt like it could be mine. And so what these people were saying was that you can make tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars a year. The idea really sat with me for a minute, and I said to myself, okay, I need to stop trying to do everything. So at the time, and this is an important lesson, was I was trying to do the freelancing and the affiliate marketing and other stuff, and I just wasn't focused enough. And so when this came around, it kind of piqued my interest, and I said, okay, I'm gonna go all the way in on this one. I'm gonna put the effort in, I'm gonna make it work. And so I made the decision to just go and jump in. And so what I did was I started to just research online, do the videos, kind of map this thing out from the beginning and learn as much as I could every day after work. When you're struggling like that, you have to find a way to make money, okay? I was already opening up credit cards to pay for rent, to pay for, if I did want to go out and have drinks and stuff, I was already, loading up cards. But I knew that I was one right move away from changing everything, and so I don't suggest opening up credit cards. I think that you need to start by finding ways to save money here and there. And so what I realized was at the time, I read a book called How to Get Rich, okay? It was called How to Get Rich, and it talked a lot about the saving aspects, right? The budgeting, making sure you're not spending extra money. And so when I was looking at my expenses, I knew that there was something that I could cut out, and I decided, it sounds ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, but I did one thing that started to save me money, and here, 1 second, let me show you. So here's what I do. I get the $5 footlong. At the time it was $5, okay? Pretty much all of them were $5. So I would get one for lunch and I'd get one for dinner, okay? So my theory was, I didn't like cooking, okay? I wanted to save time, I just hated cooking. So I was eating out, okay? But by getting something cheap like this, which again, it's not good for your health, but at the time I did it to save money. I was roughly saving about $10 a day. Then I went a little crazy. I ended up doing 1 footlong for the whole day. And so I would have 1 6-inch for lunch and 1 6-inch for dinner. I'd save even more money. Then at my 10th meal, I'd get a free sub because it was a part of a loyalty program. It was absolutely ridiculous, okay? I was basically Jared Fogle minus the sex offender. But the point being is that I had to do what I had to do to save some money. So $10 a day, $15 a day, $20 a day, whatever I could save, I would then put into my aspirational bucket, okay? Because I needed to make this happen. I wanted to make this happen. So you could figure out something in your life like that. I got my money put together, and then that gave me enough money to be able to actually start my first store. This is kind of the meat of the story right now. I was ready to do this dropshipping thing. I had a little bit of money saved up. I did not have enough money to buy a course, and so after work, because I had a day job, I'd come back, get on my computer, I'd watch endless YouTube videos. I'm sure you've been there before. And I was trying to piece this whole thing together. I finally built out a store. I started to create ads for this product that I was trying to sell, released them. I was super excited, and within a week's time, I made no sales. And within 2 weeks' time, I made no sales. And I ended up spending $200 to $400 trying to test products, trying to get these things to work, different products. Nothing was working, nothing stuck. And so I was sitting there thinking to myself, what am I missing? Because I'm part of these Facebook groups. They're telling me that they are making $1,000 days, $5,000 days. Some people are making 6 figures a month. I knew that it was possible. It just seemed like it was possible. And I don't know, I didn't know how to figure this whole thing out. And so I decided that, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to continue to save up money, because I got to a point where I had no plan B. I wanted to make this one work. I felt like there was just one thing that I was missing. And so my idea was, okay, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go and save enough money so I can buy a course and see if maybe there's some hidden thing in there that's going to allow me to be successful. And I saved up money. One of my favorite YouTubers that I was watching at the time ended up releasing some program at a discounted price, because I think it was around the holiday season, and so it was like half off. And I jumped on it. I decided, okay, I'm going to buy that. This guy I trust. I love his content. I'm going to buy it. And it was like a case study. It walked me through how he built a store from scratch and was able to generate about $1 million in a single month. And I said, okay, I got it. Let me go ahead and try that strategy. I started going out, and I realized that there was something that I was missing. I don't know if I had skipped over a video, or he was just, if people were just saving this for some like program or something. There was something very specific that I was missing, and I implemented that. And I'll talk about that in a different video, what that was. It's not really important here. I'm just trying to get through the story. But I start, sending out this new product that I built on a store, and went out, had the same kind of day the next day. The second day, still no sales. I'm thinking to myself, man, am I just not good at this, or am I not getting the right product, or what is going on? I got to the point where I knew I had to do it. I had to go 110%. There was nothing else. I'm going to put all the money I can put into this thing. I was loading up credit cards. I looked at it as like a business expense, okay? I looked at it as like a loan. It's not a good loan. I don't suggest doing that. By the time, I felt desperate, and that's what I decided to do. And man, I was about to give up. And sure enough, I wake up that morning, I had a sale. Later that day, I had another sale. I kept putting in these strategies. All of a sudden, I'm getting 5 sales a day, 10 sales a day for the same product that I was testing before that I couldn't get to work. But with this new strategy, I was able to get to work. And for that first month, I actually didn't make any money, okay? I still was unprofitable, but I was starting to prove the process, the system, the things that I saw online that people were saying they were making sales and I couldn't, and I was able to make that happen. I had been testing this system, this dropshipping thing, for like 3 months, and I'm just finally to break even for a month. Forget all the money that I lost, okay? And I'm starting to make this money. And all of a sudden, I'd start to use these more strategies and learn more and put them into the system. And over time, I start to get bigger and bigger and more profitable. And every day, it's like I'm making money. I'm making $100 a day, $200 a day, $500 a day. And before I knew it, I was making 6 figures a month. 6 figures a month. I was making as much money as I was making at my day job. And my day job was employing however many people, and it was a big business with, business office space and, all these different benefit packages and everything. And the amount of revenue that I was driving from this one store by myself was equivalent to this business. And so that was the point when I realized, okay, this stuff is real. This I can make work. I need to figure out how to make this go bigger and bigger and bigger, okay? And I woke up, and my Facebook ad account had been shut down, okay? My Facebook ad account had been shut down, and I didn't know what to do. It was a real sobering moment for me, because I went from making really good money to making nothing. I still had my day job, luckily, and one lesson that I always am thankful that I learned from Ty Lopez is that he said that everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. And what I take from that is that there's always going to be a screwball, a curveball that comes your way that's not in your control, that could take down and ruin everything, okay? You always have to play a little bit safe sometimes. You don't know when that guaranteed money that you think you're going to be making over time gets stopped. And so I was fortunate enough at the time that I knew that lesson. So I didn't spend any of the money that I made. I still don't spend any of the money that I have right now, because I'm when you're broke, you live scared to go broke again. And so I learned that lesson, and fortunately in that time frame, I still had a job. I still, had a bunch of cash from the business that I was gonna use to create something else. And what was important for me is that my perspective, my mindset had changed over that time, right? I realized it was possible. Before, I'm throwing money into something that I don't know if it's gonna work. My hard-earned money, I don't know if it's gonna work, but I'm gonna go ahead and try it out. And I was devastated, but I was thankful for the lesson, and I knew my mindset had changed. And so when I fought with Facebook for like a month or 2 months, they finally reinstated the advertising account. They finally admitted that there was no reason they should have taken it down, and I was back up and running again. I want to say thank you to the people that stuck with me through this whole video, and I hope that you learned something, but I want to give you a little bit of cash. So I'm giving away $400 to 4 people. All you have to do is comment down below and tell me what you learned from this video, what you took away from this video, okay? Just comment that down below. So I'm going to make a video that's coming out in about 2 weeks. It's a full dropshipping course. It's on YouTube. You don't need to enter an email. You don't need to give me any money for it. It's gonna be entirely free of how to get started in dropshipping. It's basically like an A to Z course, things that I would learn in like a program that I would pay hundreds of dollars for, thousands of dollars for. I'm gonna give it to you for free. That's coming out in 2 weeks. That's what I'm gonna announce the winners for this video. Now you notice that I announced winners for this video. I'm announcing 2 winners from this video and then 2 winners in that video. Make sure you're subscribed, because you're gonna be able to see when that video does come out in 2 weeks exactly, and you'll be able to get entered in as well as have the information you need to start your own dropshipping business. But let me go ahead and give you the 5 pieces of advice that I've learned over this time. So the first tip is, don't have a plan B. Don't have a backup plan. You just have to go all in. The problem is people want to do this and they want to do that. And if this doesn't work, then that's going to work. And you don't fully go all in, because there's always that thing in the back of your head that's saying, if this one thing that I want to get to work doesn't work, then I could just go do this. Act as if there is not a plan B. You've got to make this work. And you're going to put in the effort to make it work. I promise you. You're going to make that thing work. What I was doing was I was trying to do everything. I was trying to do this and that. And I was never focused on mastering that one thing to get me to be successful. And the second that I put all that other stuff away, all the other distractions and everything, and focused on the dropshipping business, I was able to make it work. Number 2, do what scares you, okay? A lot of people are scared to speak up at a meeting, or or jump on a camera like this, or make that cold call, or whatever it is. People are scared. People are scared all the time. And fear it's a very real thing. I'm scared of a lot of things. I promise you that. But what you have to do is you have to take it, case by case. You're going to have to figure out ways to inch your way into doing those things that scare you, because the comfort zone is where a lot of people live. And a lot of people live in kind of mediocrity and the average life, right? For you to be excellent, for you to excel in this life, you're gonna have to step out of your little zone. And I can tell you for a fact, if I did not step out of my zone, I would not be talking to you right now. I would still be miserable in the corporate office. I'd still be doing the same thing that I was doing before. I'm glad that I took the jump, and I know that you can do more than what you're giving yourself credit to do. Number 3, this is a huge one, okay? Launching before you're ready. And that could be a product, that could be an ad, that could be a business, that could be an idea. Launch before you're ready, because what happens is people generally try to make everything perfect, and they spend hours and hours just tweaking little things and this and that, and then by the end of it that they realize, like, I'm not gonna do it at all, and that I'm not even gonna do that business anymore, because the longer that it takes you to try to map something out, the longer that self-doubt sets in. And when that self-doubt sets in, that kills way more businesses than any failed attempt ever will, okay? So launch, jump in, and you'll figure out to swim eventually, okay? And you're gonna be able to tweak it from there, okay? It's not like it's gone and it's never coming back again. Launch before you're ready. So the fourth one is do one more rep, okay? If you're going to the gym, you got a mapped out plan of I'm gonna do 15, pull-ups, I'm gonna do 15 bench presses at this weight, I'm gonna do 15 curls at this weight for however many sets. And people do the same thing with business and with daily goals. They map it all out, and then as they go through, they just kind of check the boxes, right? What I recommend you do is when you get everything done, you get all the things that you want to do that day, you do one more thing. And it could be something really, really small. It could be something really small. Like for me, that one extra thing could have been creating the idea for this video, okay? It was just one extra thing that was like, I just need to do it, okay? It doesn't need to take me an hour to do. It could take you 15 minutes, a half hour. It might take you 2 hours. Maybe you want to go all out. But do one more rep because that's really going to set you up for success tomorrow. And it's always about those small things that you do over a consistent period that lead to those big achievements. So just one extra thing that you can do. Number 5, experiment. Always experiment. Now, this is not contradicting the first point where it's don't have a plan B. Focus, what I mean by this is focus on that one thing, but you can experiment within that. Try different things, get creative. You gotta move things around and see what works, doesn't work, okay? It's just gonna be a constant flow of ideas and tries at things, and I'd say 9 out of 10 things don't work. But that 10th thing makes up for the 9 that failed plus more, okay? You always have to experiment, and I'm gonna use another Ty Lopez line, is that he said that the people who experiment the most win. And that's true, and I think about that every single day. Every time something doesn't go right, I was like, okay, do I need to maybe tweak that ad? Maybe I need to try a new product. Maybe I need to do the video idea. Sometimes videos that I upload on YouTube don't do as well. And so I'm constantly trying to experiment and tweak things, and it's always a game. You gotta get in love with, kind of being a scientist in life and trying out different things. And I think that's extremely important. People get so hung up on that one thing, and they're like, I don't know why it's not working. It's like, maybe if you just tweak this a little bit, it's gonna be a massive success, okay? And that's extremely important. Okay, so let me leave you with one last quote. Doubt kills more dreams than failures ever will.